I said Fred Dignazio was our connection to Silicon Valley, and there's so many new things coming on the air now that there's a lot of confusion with television and VCRs and cable ready and cable compatible and cable things like that. So he has brought a bunch of things to explain to us this morning. We've got two good pictures going here. Fred, welcome back.
Good morning, Tom.
Hi.
Tom, I think the most important problem right now is that there is confusion related to all the options people have with VCR and the new TV and cable. So I thought we might run like a little clinic here and try to figure out some of the things that are bothering people.
I'm the guy who's going to buy, and I'll ask you some questions, okay?
Well, the first thing I think to do is that get some literature. And I went down to Video Showcase, and I talked to Perry Stevens there, who's the owner. And they have a set of publications, one called Getting Wired, How to Plug It All In. And so I'd suggest people do a little reading right now just to start educating themselves about all the various possibilities they have so they'll be able to use them better.
All right.
One of the first questions people have is, they say, well, I'm on cable, and that's different. Say Channel 6, for example, doesn't come in on cable as Channel 6.
No, it comes in on Channel 12 on my
well, it comes in on 4 on mine.
That's just to, the cable companies do that just to confuse you.
And they're all different, too, depending on where we live. So I recommend folks go down to the local supermarket and get a TV Tempo, and inside they'll find a listing of what's on that week. And if they look at Channel 6 at the top, they find down beneath the different cable companies and 6, 11, what it's carried on by their cable company. Okay? Keep
hitting those buttons and you'll find it.
That's right. So once they figured out what channel there is, then they go to their VCR, and here I've got an RCA VCR, and then they use their tuner, and they push a little button called select, and they set the channel control. Okay, I'm not going to do this now because we have the picture running, but they'll set it to Channel 6.
Do they do this for you when you buy this?
If you buy a VCR from a good retailer, these are some questions and some things you can have them do in the store. And then you adjust it so your 6 is the same as Channel 6, and from then on, you just push 6, and you get 6.
All right, now question. Well, I have a VCR that's maybe 5 years old. I don't have that possibility.
Oh, you have a good point there. Most older VCRs and TVs are not what's called either cable ready or cable compatible. And let me show you here, if I can reach over the top. We have a, well, we've got one connector in the back. Let's see. I have to go around the back of my little set here. And what you've got is a little box, okay, a switcher box in the back of the set. That helps. That allows you to plug in your VCR into your TV. Then you also are going to need what's called a block converter, okay? A block converter, you can get this at Radio Shack, or you can get this at one of the local video stores. It only costs $30, or you can rent it from your local cable television company. And what you do is you plug the block converter as soon as your cable comes out into your converter, or if your TV is not cable ready, you plug the converter in between your television set and your VCR.
Okay, now if you got an old television, it most likely is not cable ready.
That's right.
But if you can buy one of these, that'll make it cable ready.
This makes it, now you bring up another point there. The term cable ready is driving people crazy because they say, well, I went out and bought a cable ready set and a cable ready VCR, but I'm not getting like Walt Disney. I'm not getting HBO. You have two problems there. The first thing people have to realize is that every signal on the cable is scrambled. If you don't have the circuitry inside to pick up and decode, unscramble that signal, then you're not going to get the program anyway. You have to go out and buy a special box for Disney, and that's the new trend. New channels like the Disney Channel, you have to buy a special box or else rent it from the cable company, or you have to pay extra for the service like HBO or ESPN. Now it's going to bring up another problem people have is they say, well, stereo. I hear all this talk about stereo. And all these TV sets say stereo, and the VCR says stereo. And on television it says a little caption says broadcast in stereo. And you have two problems there, and what you have to do is ask first, what equipment do I have? Does my equipment say stereo ready? And second, you ask, what signal am I getting? Because with only one exception, Tom, no station in Birmingham is broadcasting in stereo right now. And the same goes for cable. Now, good news is that pretty soon we will be broadcasting in stereo. But what if we're on cable? What if I'm in Vestavia on cable, which I am? Then I'm still not getting stereo even when Channel 6 is broadcasting.
Through your cable you wouldn't get,
no,
get a cable.
So you still don't
If you got it off antenna, you would get it stereo.
If I got it off antenna, once you start broadcasting. So what we have then is another situation where the cable companies, even today, for example in Vestavia, are broadcasting selected channels in stereo. For example, HBO, some movies, MTV, and also some sports, football games in stereo if you have the right equipment. Hopefully in the future we'll be seeing more stereo broadcasts both by, say, Channel 6 and through cable. But again, you have to ask at your retailer, is my VCR and my TV, are they able to pick up a stereo signal?
And a good retailer will tell them the difference and tell them exactly what they're going to have.
Yes, that's very important. Maybe one of the last questions people have is tapes. They go out there and they see hi-fi stereo, Super Avalon, high grade, Dynarec. It's very confusing as to what kind of prices to pay for tapes and what kind of quality you're getting. With a new kind of formats like the Super Beta, the tape that you can get, okay, actually no matter what tape, on a Super Beta VCR like this Sony over here, you can record sound higher quality than reel-to-reel or than you can get on any audio cassette. And you get 6 hours of high-quality sound. Okay, you can couple that with a very pricey hi-fi stereo type of tape, and that gives you more particles per a given area and gives you still a higher quality of sound. But my recommendation is that any of these tapes, you don't even have to go with the high-quality tapes, just a standard regular videotape, either a VHS or Beta, will allow you, because of the width of the tape, see, it's a ½ inch wide. So it gives you that much more recording area to get a high-quality sound.
All right, the last thing, Fred, let's tell them. Now, when I bought my VHS RCA 5 years ago, I guess, I'm not sure, it cost $1,200. Now they're down, what, less than half that price?
Yes, Tom, and you make a really good point there. Not only are the prices gone even below $200 in some cases, but they packed in a lot more features. And I'd like to bring up one feature, is remotes.
Yeah.
People wondered, should I get a remote? I brought my own one along, and it has no remote. Then there are wired remotes with a little cord draped down it, and then you've got a wireless infrared remote. My advice is now, I couldn't even find any new sets that had wired remotes. I would go for, because if you pay for the wireless, you're only paying $10 to $20 more, and you get the convenience factor with all that channel changing and operating your VCR from your remote control, and you also have the safety factor. It's a hazard to have that cord around if you have pets or children.
That is true. Well, Fred Dignazio, this is all the time we have to talk about this. He's updated us on some problems you might have with VCR and television, cable ready, cable whatever. And if you have some problems, then we would refer you to your dealer to find out more about them. And high-tech questions and suggestions, you can, if you have some questions, you can write them to the morning show. Post Office Box 6, Birmingham, Alabama, 35201. High-tech questions and suggestions. Fred will be glad to answer those on subsequent programs. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Tom.
In just a moment, we're going to learn about the Greek Food Festival following this. Practical applications for high technology are surfacing every day, and you got to keep up if you want to know about them. Today, our $6 million man, Fred Dignazio, will demonstrate one of them. It's called, well, the general term is desktop publishing. There's a couple of publications here that explain the thing. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means to you and me, but I think it has something to do with reproducing graphics other than just the printed words. Fred, welcome back to the morning show. Nice to have you with us.
Good morning, Tom.
All right. Would you explain the term and what kind of equipment used in desktop publishing?
Well, desktop publishing, Tom, is just coming now to Birmingham. So I recommend that anyone who's interested in desktop publishing should go to a local computer store like Village Computers in Homewood to learn more about it. The term itself, though, it's very simple. It means, literally, that everything you need for publishing can fit on top of your desk.
What do you mean publish now? Are you talking about, not talking about a newspaper or magazine, we're talking about brochures or something?
We're talking from as little as a resume for personal publishing on up to, say, a church might have a newsletter, a school might have a newspaper, on up to brochures and even magazines and books. You can do this yourself.
Was I correct in presuming that this does something more than just printed words?
Yes, you were exactly right. It combines line drawings and art, photographs, as well as all kinds of different text styles, just like you see in a picture book or a regular published book.
Okay, now Fred is kind of sneaky. I think he said he was going to do something for the morning show.
Yes.
You didn't tell us what it was, and you didn't tell Joan what it was going to be either. All right?
Okay, what we have, Tom, is a demonstration. We're going to do some desktop publishing here this morning.
For the morning show.
For the morning show.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, where we want to start is kind of at the heart of desktop publishing itself, right over here. And this is with the Apple's Macintosh computer. And what we have here is really a kind of a hybrid computer. We have the Macintosh with its graphics, and you can see pictures on the screen. Also, we have a Hyperdrive 20 inside of the Macintosh. And that is a hard disk drive that allows you to put all of your programs, and this is your software, your programs, inside the computer, and then speeds the programs up so they run very fast. Now, Tom, we'll have you come over here with this mouse. This is a little device.
This is the magic hand, and this is the magic mouse, all right?
Okay, and that little
there's
mouse.
the arrow right there.
That's right.
See, I can do anything I want to with it.
This is a picture over here of Dr. Pat Ryan from Ryan's Hope. And I'm going to have you move the arrow over here to Pat's nose, if you can, somewhere around there, and hold that button down.
Hold that button down.
And then you grab Pat and move his picture over to the picture frame.
Okay, I got to hold it down?
Hold that button down.
Okay,
move his picture.
Moving him over.
That's over where you're going to publish that document. Okay, good. All right.
I got him.
Well done. And then up at the top here, you see where it says page? See if you can get your mouse to move your arrow up to page. Click the button and hold it down. Okay, and move down to where it says fit in window. Right there, and let go of the button.
Let go of the button.
Okay, now
look what that fellow has
this
done.
is the document for the morning show as it will look when it's published or printed.
Can you see that, folks? It says live at the Galleria, Friday, February the 21st from 9 to 10 a.m. We published our own little flyer, haven't we?
Now we're going to print it out over here, and this is another key to desktop publishing.
Now
so
what do I do next?
Now you can let go of your mouse.
Let go of my mouse.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll go over here, and this is the document itself. And maybe perhaps you could take it up and show to folks. That's what it looks like.
This is what we built this from scratch.
We built this from scratch with the words.
There was no picture, no nothing.
Now let me show you a little bit about the magic that kind of went on there. Okay, the way you got Pat Ryan's picture is first Joan Zaza, the producer of the morning show, gave us a photograph. All right, we took that photograph and we shot it with this Mac video cam. Okay, from Comtrax. All right. Now Pat's picture then goes through the wires into this little box. It's called Mac Vision from Koala Technologies.
Mac Vision.
Mac Vision.
That sounds like a hamburger company.
Everything is Mac.
I know everything's Mac, yeah.
And then Pat's picture now, you've got it, is over here now, and it comes onto the picture screen of the Macintosh.
Right.
And then we print it out over here on the laser writer printer from Apple Computer. Now, all of this would not be possible without some software. And the software that does this, the most popular desktop publishing program, is called Pagemaker from Aldus Corporation. And that allows you to substitute. Tom, let me just show you the difference. Here is what you see with Pagemaker. You work with your document. This is
the little mouse here.
And the mouse. This is what you used to have to struggle with. Complicated typesetting codes.
Come on, look at that down there.
Yeah, complicated codes that only the experts could master.
That looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics.
I don't understand them either. Now, one thing you might have noticed was that the picture was not really of a very high quality. So for us to get an even higher quality picture, we need a scanner. Now, a scanner comes from a company like Microtech. And this Microtech scanner, we've got a picture here now of Donna Beck from All My Children.
Right.
And we take her photograph, and this scanner has little wheels on it, and it runs the picture down, and a little fluorescent lamp scans the picture. The picture comes out on the bottom, and then it will show up over here on the picture screen of the computer. We use PageMaker, make our document, and then we print it out, and then if you could show folks what it looks like when we print it out from the laser writer printer.
There it is.
And now, if you could show that, now this is almost a half-tone quality, like a newspaper, photograph that you get out of a newspaper. The other thing that I think is exciting, Tom, is if you take and show these other copies, is you can print as many copies as you want.
My next question was, okay, we've got one copy now. Can I just punch a button like I do with my Xerox machine and get 5,000 of them?
The laser writer is your own printing press. You can just set it like a copy machine. And you can use different colors of paper and print as many copies as you want to do.
And it's not this technical that every, a guy who owns a small business could, be his own advertising man?
You point and click with the mouse. In fact, it's so easy. Let me show you two examples from local pioneers of desktop publishing here in Birmingham. This was done by the pioneering students over at Shades Valley High School. This is the Shades Valley High School newspaper.
And they did it, all this?
And they've done this themselves. Now, they've done this with even less expensive equipment using the Apple Macintosh to produce their own
Okay,
newspaper.
I'm a small business, Fred, and I want to do my own thing here. I want to do my own graphics and everything. How much would this cost me to get started in this business?
The old prices of publishing with a real full-scale unit were about $30,000 to $50,000.
Right.
Now we're talking $2,500 and up.
$2,500 and you got it.
Can we maybe squeeze one last thing here? I wanted to show this is what's unbelievable. This is also local. This was done by Robert Palmer at the University of Alabama over in Tuscaloosa. And Robert is the assistant director of the supply store for the university, which was gutted by a fire recently. Robert had never used a Macintosh. He was not computer literate. And he'd never read any books on desktop publishing, and yet he put this entire diagram together. They changed it to blueprints, and they really rebuilt the entire supply store based on this diagram.
With just equipment, something like this?
And he did this on a Macintosh computer and an Apple Laser Writer
printer. And the desktop publisher became the creator then?
Yes, he said that the Macintosh paid for itself many, many times over.
All right. Fred, thank you very much for being with us this morning. It's called Desktop Publishing, and if you want to get into your own graphics business, it'd be great for small business, advertising agencies.
Yes.
Anybody.
That's right. Any kind of graphics or text.
Okay. And we thank you very much. If you'd like more information about it, I suggest you consult your computer people.
Right.
Okay, we'll be back following this.
News headlines with BRC6 News anchor Bill Bowler.
New ideas and lifestyles, how reluctant we are sometimes to accept them. Some examples from history. Henry Ford said, "You can have any color car you want, as long as it's black." They told Orville and Wilbur, if the Lord had intended man to fly, he'd have given him wings. And remember the handkerchief makers years ago who said, nobody is going to blow his nose on a piece of paper and throw it away? What happened to Kleenex? Anyway, and in 1936 and again in 1946, Birmingham city fathers told Delta Airlines they couldn't put their headquarters in Birmingham because we didn't need them. We had U.S. Steel. Well, the list goes on and on and on. Now, computers, they are here, a fact of life. But a lot of us are intimidated by all that hype and confusion, so we back away from it. Today, we begin a series of classes with our instructor, Fred Dignazio, to learn about computer terms. We call it Morning Show Computer 101. Fred, welcome back. Now, this thing is going to intimidate me, and it's going to intimidate a lot of folks out there. So it's not all that bad, is it?
No, I thought what we'd do, too, is we got a computer here that is the sleekest, it's the latest computer. It's the Amiga computer, and we borrowed it from Command Computer over in Village East across from Century Plaza.
All right.
But we're going to move away from the computer just for a second, and we're going to go to something familiar here, a record album and a record. And the key to making any computer work is software. And so this is software, and I think it's something everybody out here isn't the least bit intimidated about.
I thank you for doing that, because my wife said yesterday, what is software?
Software is...
As opposed to hardware.
Well, the program you play on your record player is music.
Your record would be software.
On a record, right. On a tape cassette, your software is the tape, and again, it's music, sounds, voices, or what have you. Now, on a computer, it's just a little bit different. It comes on these little discs. You have one here.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they were called floppy disks, but now there's a new little disk, a rigid disk. So I don't think the term floppy works anymore. But again, you have stored in here magnetically information, sounds, pictures, what have you.
And well, wait a minute, let's back up. Who stored it in there? How does it get there?
That's right. It had to be stored by a programmer at some time. And the programmer could be either you working on your personal computer, or it could be stored at a factory by the manufacturer and then sold over the counter at a local computer store or discount store.
So whatever information I wanted to put on the computer to call it up at some future date, I would put on here and I would type it all in there and it would record on there.
That's right. And you make a good point, because a record, of course, you cannot store anything new on. You have to go with what you've got at the store. A tape cassette, though, I think is more like a computer disc, because you can put your own software on the tape cassette. Now, the next step for us is to actually load the software, and to do that, there's a little hole, just like a player on a tape cassette player or a record player turntable, where there's a little device called a disk drive in the computer. And you take the software, you can do it here, and push it into that hole there until it clicks. And now you've loaded the software, and the computer records what's going on its picture screen. So here we have a picture of a disk that is known as the workbench disk to the computer. And you can take this device over here, Tom. This is known, you might want to hold it up. This is known as a mouse. And there's a whole new generation of what we call mouseketeers. And you're going to become a mouseketeer
I'm going to be a mouseketeer. Well, where are my ears?
Well, here are the mouse's ears, and what have to do with those. Now, your left mouse ear allows you to select things, and turn the mouse over, and we'll show people what a mouse really is. Underneath it is just this little ball. As that ball rolls around on the table and makes contact with the table, it allows this little arrow up here to move around on the screen. You can do that now.
All right, let's do that now. All right, here we go.
Move that arrow. Be a mouseketeer and move your arrow.
I move it. I can move it in. All right.
Okay, and then the left button up there will allow you to select things. So why don't you point at the disc?
Point at the disc.
And press 2
times quickly. Let me do that again.
quickly.
Here we go. Get my arrow up there, and I press what? Twice?
2 times quickly. There's a little zzz, which means the computer is busy. And up here, and you have a window.
I can hear the computer's a little bit busy.
It's the little disk there.
Its wheels are clicking.
All right. It's recalling the information from the disk we just loaded on. Now we have several drawers. One thing I want to make a point about now is that computers, in an effort to try to be easier or, quote, user-friendly, have tried to make the screen look more like a desktop that we're familiar with. So as you can see here, we have lots of drawers, so we all have filing cabinets. Inside those drawers are programs that you can use. Over here is a trash can where you throw away information you don't need.
Okay, the file 13.
Okay, and we have a clock that would allow you to keep track of what's going on. Now, why don't we open one of your file drawers, your utilities
drawer. My mouse over here?
Right, and point right over at utilities, all the way over.
I can't get my mouse.
Pick up this. A good thing you learn as a mouseketeer is pick up the mouse and move it back over, and then come forward some more.
I got you. Yeah.
And go on down to utilities.
Down to utilities.
And then you double click. Once you point
right there.
Right, and double click.
Double click the left one.
And that will open the utilities drawer and becomes a new window. It's like a new
when you say utilities, I could put all my Alabama Power Company bills in there, my gas company bills, and my phone bills and things like that?
That's right. That's the common way we think of utilities, but it also on a computer means certain tools that you would use. And for example, a notepad and a calculator. Why don't you double-click notepad, and we'll open. Now this is your first program. Before we've been opening drawers.
Yeah. Now
here's a program, a notepad program.
All right. The Z's indicate that it is working.
That's right. And what you'll have here is an empty notepad, an electronic notepad, okay? Why don't you type something on the screen, just on the typewriter keyboard.
Okay.
It's something simple.
Yeah, here we go.
And this would be as if you were making a note to yourself that you wanted to recall something for later. Okay. We'll let folks see this. This is, I want to remember to pay my utility bills. Now, I notice you have a little problem with your spelling here, Tom.
Yeah, did I?
So we can demonstrate something
left out a little
right off the bat here. If you looked at that and said, that's not quite right, why don't you hit this backspace button and watch this little, this is called a cursor here on the computer screen. It indicates
I want to take that U out, right?
Your position, right? And now what do you want to put in place of that U? A Y, okay, and go ahead and type space and bills again. And what we're showing here is on the electronic screen. Oops. Well, we can make even more mistakes.
Yeah.
And we can also instantly correct what we've typed. And so see, you fixed what you typed.
an E, remember to it.
Well, what we could do, but see, you could go all the way back and you could correct that too. But it's showing on the electronic screen, you can instantly correct things that you've made. How about one more thing down here, the calculator?
Okay, I tell you what, while we do this, while I get the mouse down here, we're going to get the mouse on the calculator. We're going to take a break in just a moment and come right back. These are fun to play with, too, besides being utilitarian. Okay, Fred Dignazio, our computer connectionist here, and you are doing Computer 101, something that everybody can understand, even me. Now, I have typed a little something in there, then where are we now? We put the mouse on the calculator and we've called it up?
That's right.
There's a calculator.
That's right, and you, on top of your notepad, you've just put a calculator. What you could liken it to is taking paper on top of your desk, and so having lots of different papers. You have a messy desk now.
Yeah,
what you've got,
yes,
Tom.
I can understand
so,
that.
if you wanted to type more notes on your notepad, you're going to need to move your calculator off the top of your notepad.
Right.
So you move your little arrow up to the top of that box, of the calculator box, and click your button and hold that button down.
The left one?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And move your mouse down slowly, and let's see what happens. Yeah, look at that window. That's the window with the calculator. You can move it anywhere you want on the screen and show folks. It's like moving a page or a piece of paper around on your desktop.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I got that, and I still got
That's
this.
right. So now you could be using, go over, and, well, you could use your memo pad now and type something new, or you could go over and do some calculations. Why don't you press a couple number keys, and we'll show folks how the display on the top.
How about the 6?
All right. See, so it's just like a little electronic calculator on your screen.
6. 9.
Okay.
Okay.
As you press your mouse, it's the same as pressing the calculator keys. So I guess what this...
So this makes this a calculator, albeit rather
That's
slow.
right.
But,
That's right. You've got the computer's best ability is to become other tools and devices. So we, this morning, have shown how it can become a memo pad and a calculator. In future weeks, we can show how it could become an actual electronic typewriter. It could become a spreadsheet program that allows you to add up long columns of numbers. It could become a huge filing cabinet. You can throw all of your information into, sort it, organize it, and get it back at your fingertips.
All right, now these are becoming, let's talk practicality of computers now. This, you say, is the sort of the state of the art. This is one of the newest ones out.
Yes, that's
and it's getting smaller and smaller.
That's
the
right.
screen, of course, has got to be big enough to accommodate it, but the rest of this stuff here is becoming smaller.
I think, yes, that's right. The practical thing about this, Tom, is that as you have these new computers come out, people think, well, that the computer automatically does everything. And I think, let's see if I have one with me. One example I like to give is the ballpoint pen example, is that I say that a computer, all right, without this software that comes on these diskettes, is like a ballpoint pen without a point. Okay, so the point being that if you get a computer and you don't buy this software, all right, you're still, this computer sits there dead in the water. It doesn't do anything. So in terms of expenses, there are hidden costs when you get into buying computers. Your first expense is that in addition to this computer, a box right here which contains the memory and the little microchips that make up the computer, and the keyboard and the mouse, which you get at the base price, all right, which is around $1,400, by the way. You also have to go in the market for a high-resolution color picture screen if you're going to have a computer that looks like this. Once you buy that, then you start having to shop for disks, your software, to turn your computer into a memo pad, a calculator, a typewriter, a filing cabinet, to play games, to teach your kids. You need to buy software. So this is a hidden cost that you may not know about initially, but which may double or even triple the cost of your computer.
Is that sort of like the Gillette syndrome? You remember Gillette said, we'll give them the razors, but they've got to buy our blades.
That's right.
Is this what we're doing with these discs?
Well, I think it's the same, too, when you buy a stereo.
Yeah.
Okay, is you initially get it, but then you find yourself collecting record albums.
Give them the stereo, but they've got to buy our records.
That's right. So I think that's a good analogy. And so you find, as you get more and more into computers, you want it to do more and more things, more and more powerful tasks, and you're spending more and more money. But so it's good to keep that in mind when you take that first plunge.
Okay, you know that we're right on the edge, the cutting edge of this technology, and a lot of the people out there are going, ho, 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 hum. But it's going to be a part of your life. And you can, it's just like automobiles and sewing machines and things like that. We got better and better and better.
And I think the exciting thing is that computers were awkward. They were scary when they first came out.
Yeah.
They were ones and zeros and just for like a priesthood of experts.
Yes.
But now they're trying to be as user-friendly as they can, look like a desktop or a trash can or a filing cabinet. And so becoming a mouseketeer, I think, is easier than it used to be.
Now, Fred uses the term user-friendly. That means that you feel comfortable with it.
That's
and
right.
you can use it because you consider it a tool.
I once wrote a book called How to Get Intimate with Your Computer.
You did? Kind of racy title.
It's a cartoon book.
Okay.
And what it does is it tells you that when you get that keyboard and the computer, is that you treat it like a sex object or like your automobile or anything else. Is touch, feel, gut feelings are just as important in a computer as anything else. So how does that keyboard feel? How does the picture screen look to you?
When you get something like this and you put it up here and it transposes from here fingers and here up there, and it's sort of like putting your foot, the pedal to the metal.
That's right.
And you feel
pedal
it.
to the metal.
All
and
right.
you get a feeling, and if you have a good feeling, you're going to want to use that computer. You're going to learn more about software. But if you have a bad feeling, it's not your fault. It means that the computer wasn't designed properly.
All right, we're going to continue this next week. Fred will be back, and we'll have part number 2 of this, becoming friendly and becoming user-friendly with your computer. Thank you, Fred. Fred Dignazio. We'll be back following this and talk about cosmetics for black skin. Camera is the most popular thing you've ever seen around anybody's neck. They come from super sophisticated to point and punch. Fred Dignazio is going to tell us about the high-tech advantages or advancements in cameras. Well, all right, Fred, I see that. That's a standard.
This morning, that's right. We have what is now a low-tech camera. This is my camera that I brought forward. And I thought we'd start the program, since this can get complicated, is to try to stay simple. And so to think about what we're doing when we're taking a picture, Tom. What we're basically doing, the basic idea is that you want to let light come through the lens, and then you push a button at the top of the camera, which clicks open a shutter inside the camera and exposes film that's on the back.
A brief moment of light.
That's right. And then we take it to the store and we have it developed. That's the simple approach.
All right.
Okay, what has happened is that we have new technology that allows us to automate a lot of what's going on, but to maintain still continued quality of use while you increase the quality of your picture. So what we've had happen over the last few years is a splitting of the tree of camera development into 2 directions. And I was going to show you an example of both today.
All right, let's see.
The first direction is the strictly professional, and I brought here a Vista Field View camera from Cameras Brookwood over in Brookwood Convenience Center. Now, what you have here is a camera that combines all 3 goals of the photographer: a quality picture, ease of use, and control over taking the picture. Okay? Now, you also have then the ability to move this camera. I pull this back forward and back like this, and we can move this, the front part like this, forward and back, and we have the actual picture coming out on a 4x5 negative on the back. Now, this is strictly a camera, I think, for a professional, because you have...
get awfully heavy around your neck.
That's right. Usually it's mounted on a tripod. Okay. The other direction we've gone is to try, instead of not having the old Brownie that didn't allow you to do anything, and the camera itself wasn't intelligent. We'll call it a dumb camera.
All right.
Now we're moving to the era of smart cameras that I'd like to call robots. They're almost like little robots that are sensing and making decisions and doing things for you. And I think the kind of ideal camera to show for that is the new Canon SureShot. Now, we have here, I think I'd like to mention to folks, is we're having a change toward 35mm cameras in
Instead
general.
of that 110.
Yeah, and that 35mm, do you realize what the 35 means or stands for? I didn't realize until yesterday.
No, it's just a number.
And the people at Cameras Brookwood showed me, is that you take the film, if you took a little ruler, you can measure the film sideways, and that's the width of the film.
The width of the film.
35mm. And the larger width allows a more high-quality picture.
And that's what your great movies are done with, the 35mm.
That's right. That's right. Now, we take the camera, Canon SureShot, and this is the totally automated robotic camera.
This is point and punch.
That's point and punch.
I like it already.
But differing from the olden days when the camera didn't do anything, this little camera has a little brain, has little sensors inside of it that adjust the shutter speed, the size of the lens opening, and also automatically focus the lens depending on the different distance. Beyond that, it's got little micro motors inside, and the micro motors automate the rewinding and the winding of your film.
Okay, now that's as opposed to this right here. And my son had a camera like Fred's, we call low-tech. And he explained to me one day, I said, I wouldn't have one of those. You know, there's so many of this and so many of this and so many of this, and I end up doing it wrong anyway. He says, you realize you can make 150 different mistakes with this camera?
That's right.
That's the reason I don't want it.
So what I'm trying to explain to folks is that as you go up in price and high tech, you don't automatically go up in complication. You can go either way. You can control it yourself, or you can let the camera program everything for you with its little computer chip brain. Now here we have a Canon T80, and I think the exciting feature of this camera is that take the lens off, and you have a lens that is a tiny micro motor built inside of it. And so the motor actually automatically focuses the camera for you. But now here's kind of my pride and joy of the morning, Tom. This is a camera that has never been seen publicly in the United States.
This is the first time.
This is a coup for the Tom York Show.
All right.
This is the Canon T90 that is perhaps the most highly advanced camera in the world. This camera costs around $600, and it has 7 programs built in. I was hoping maybe I could show you, if we did a close-up here on the top, a computer display screen. See how we do that.
It is.
There we are. It displays something over 100 pieces of different information, but in just a little piece at a time, so as not to get things complicated. It has 3 micro motors built inside of it, and it has the ability to let you do either high quality through control, or it automates everything. So I think this is the purely robotic camera of the future. Now, in addition to the cameras going high-tech, we also have camera accessories going high-tech. And these are, you might take a look at them, are the new flashes. And let's turn them around and show folks all of the controls that you have. You can either run the flash on manual, where you push all the buttons, or you can run it, again, programmed, so the computer makes all the decisions.
Yeah.
Okay?
This looks like the eyeballs of Gort on the day the earth stood still.
And I'd like you, Tom, to try this new model. What this allows you to do is look inside of this window here. And as you look through there, do you see a little dot in the center?
Yeah.
Focus on something beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to focus on Carl.
All right. All right.
Now what do I do?
Now you reach up to the top. You got a little button, a trigger.
Okay.
And push that trigger down real hard. Okay, and let's take it down and let's see what you've got there. What you're trying to do is adjust how fast you want to take this picture. Got it on. Oh, we do this. Let's see. Let's go off and on. There we go. And let's shoot it again.
All right.
There we go. And what you're showing there, if you could kind of show that to the folks, is we have, this allows you to see how wide the opening should be to shoot Carl or whatever, and over here the film speed. And you can relate that to any kind of film that
and it gives you the proper light that you need for it. All right.
That's right. Now, I'd like to make one last point with the T90.
All right.
High-tech is a good thing, but high-tech alone doesn't mean high quality. I think one of the things that distinguishes the T90 and some of the other Canon cameras is that good design plays a real part too. One of the ways that you might be able to see that is, let's take this little fellow apart, and you can see on this camera, the old cameras that all the motors and everything took 14 batteries. How many batteries do you count here?
I see 4.
4 batteries. They have miniaturized the motors in this camera so far they can power everything on just 4 batteries. Another thing that you see in the back is a tiny window. And the little window on the back allows you to see the film inside there and to tell you what kind of film that you're shooting with, so you don't have to put a label on the outside.
You don't have to open up and expose all your film either.
Last, let's take a look at this, Tom. This, I think, is really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Is look at these little sensors. There are little sensors inside the camera.
Okay, we got about 15 seconds
All right.
now.
They read automatically the UPC, United Product Code, Universal Product Code, to automatically set this film speed on your camera.
Okay. And then you put that in there and punch a button, it goes zip.
And the motors push everything.
Does itself.
That's right.
Well, high-tech cameras. And Fred Dignazio, thank you again. I believe I'll just take this one. Okay?
All right.
All right. We'll be back now following this. Thank you.